everyone. Welcome back. You are listening to Voces Unidas in Pacoima here on KROJ 101.5 FM with your host, Maria.
Diosy.
And Melissa.
And before we get started, we're going to do a land acknowledgement. Today, we recognize and honor the original occupants and stewards of the land on which we now gather. Many of us joined this gathering from lands that are traditional home territory of the Fernandino Tataviam Band of Mission Indians. Voces Unidas recognizes and thanks the first people of this ancestral land and unceded territory of the Fernandino Tataviam Band of Mission Indians, which is now occupied by the city of LA, and residents like us. It is important to honor the elders, past and present, and descendants of the citizens of the Fernandino Tataviam Band of Mission Indians. We recognize that the tribe is still here, and we are committed to uplifting their stories, their culture, and their community.
Thank you so much, Comadre, for that land acknowledgement. Thank you so much. Shout out to Teodora, who has prepared the land acknowledgement for us to share with you all. And I want to just quickly introduce our guests. We have Khalil and Kissbell here in the studio with us. Khalil, go ahead and do a quick little bio. Let people know who you are.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm Khalil Siam, and started out as a musician, rapper, since I was 13 years old. Started writing rhymes when I was like 11 or 12 or something like that. Started recording when I was 14, 15. Got on Power 106 radio in Los Angeles at age 19. I am now 52, and in between that time, I did a lot of recordings and albums and releases and stuff like that. 2012, I won Song of the Year with Sony and LL Cool J.
Wow.
And there's like this commercial, I could forward it to you guys. That's my claim to fame. But it was great because I grew up listening to LL Cool J, and he was like my role model growing up. So getting to work with him was really cool, pun intended. And yeah, so yeah, it's just great. It's great to like be able to work with somebody that you grew up listening to and believing in, and inspired me to like rap and stuff like that. So when I got to work with him, he gave me some really cool mentorship and stuff, and it was just great, doing all that stuff. So fast forward from 2012 to now, I probably released like another 5 albums. They're all out like Amazon and like Apple Music and all that stuff. And so when my son turned 8 years old, it was in 2007. He was born in 98, so he was almost 9. He came to me in the studio in Corona where we were living, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, I got this rap, and I want to do this rap for you." So I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
At 7 years old?
At 7, yeah, 7, 8 years old.
That's cool.
So I was like, "Oh, cool." And little did I know he was going to rap exactly on beat. Like, I didn't have to teach him that aspect of it, It was just so crazy. So I guess he and my daughter, who's 7 years younger than him, they had always been coming in and out of the studio and listening and watching. So kids are very smart. They observe and learn. And since your subconscious develops from like the age of 0 to 8, 9 years old, they probably picked up a lot of that stuff because I always had beats going, always like recordings and stuff like that. So I started with video because my son had done the rap, and then I did a music video for him. So that was the first time I started working with like Sony Vegas, like before, Final Cut Pro and all these things.
Yeah.
And Adobe Premiere and all that stuff. So I was using Sony Vegas, started working on music videos and stuff like that, just for him and my kids and stuff. And I just have my daughter Destiny and my son Isaiah. So he's almost 27, she's almost 20 now. So I'm 52, and time goes by quick. Time goes by really fast. And then at that point, I started charging people to do music videos and stuff like that for another 15 years. And then the last 3 or 4 years, I started developing my skills in film. Okay. It was just a patience thing because, like when you do a music video, it takes about a week to edit a 4-minute video.
Yeah.
If you do it right. But a movie, I kind of like shied away from it because I was like, it's going to take a long time for me to edit this thing. So I had in my head each scene was going to be in the order of the film. It was just in my head. Like I scripted everything from my mind and dreams and visions that I had. So I was able to convey this to some of the actors like Kissbell here. And she was very receptive of like my director skills and I guess, you know, like the way I did things. And it was easy for them to be themselves. Like instead of having a script and just trying to like get into some other character, I allowed everybody in my film to be their own character. Just be themselves, basically.
Yeah.
But there was like a direction to the film and all that stuff. So, yeah, the last 3 or 4 years I've been working on this film, and then I just released it. I put it on YouTube for now, but I want to put it on like Hulu and like Amazon and all that stuff by the summer.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at right now.
And featured on the film that you released is a couple of folks that we've worked with.
Oh, yeah.
El Santo del Valle.
Yep.
Daniel Molina.
Yes.
Do you have any other like a local artist that you could like plug in?
Oh yeah, there's Ben Colada, Kissbell. She's rapping on there. We got Dios Negasi. We got. I should know these people. Let's get back to that question. I'll think about it.
For now, let's get to Kissbell. Kissbell, give us a quick bio about yourself, you know, your background, and how you met Khalil, you know, and you know, how you felt working with him and in this film.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kissbell. I go by Art is My Religion on Instagram. I am a mixed media oil painter, a performance artist, model, dancer, singer, curator, and organizer, and actress. Okay.
Bravo.
I need a
let's just take a moment to appreciate all of those, you know, accomplishments and you know, like, because it takes a lot to identify with, you know, like your art, your creativity, your work. And like I myself didn't start calling myself an organizer until like I would say like 6 months ago, and I realized like I'm doing a lot of organizing. Like I think I'm an organizer, you know.
We
so
all
like
organizers
yes,
here, man.
period. Thank you, Mel. I'm like, but thank you for that bio. We were talking a little bit off air how you met Khalil, but just to give our listeners a bit of that background, can you share a little bit about how you met Khalil and like your collaboration?
Oh yes. I met Khalil at a photo shoot at on Echo Park in April, I believe, of 2024. He liked my style. I like to incorporate a lot of my indigeneity or my intersectionality in my work, in my modeling work. I grew up in East LA. I'm Chapin y Cipota. If you guys don't know that, it's Guatemala and El Salvador. And I like to incorporate a lot of my Maya ancestry, or heritage. I like to incorporate the Maya makeup from what the women wore way back when the Mayan civilization was at its height. So I like to paint my face red, and that captured his eye. I also like to incorporate my own style with it. So I like to incorporate and bring it to like a more contemporary age. I'm pretty much the type to like promote. We have like very beautiful huipiles and trajes that like we don't like to show them off only when there's a special holiday, which doesn't make we should be wearing it every day. I see a lot of other cultures that, you know, they wear their saris or they wear and they incorporate it really well in contemporary fashion. Why can't we? So what is this whole like how do you say internalized like racism?
Like they're shy from the culture.
So yeah, so I like to do that, and
so
he
beautiful.
liked that a lot. And then he approached me, and I was just like, okay, cool, yeah, definitely, why not? And yeah, I even painted my face in one scene.
Yep,
and I even talk about this about being an artist and incorporating this. But yeah,
and so you were saying that there's a rap that you did in the film.
Yes, I did a little bit of the soundtrack. I believe it is in an hour and 05 minutes in the movie. I believe
It's right after the scene with me and Eric Estrada.
Yes.
Yeah,
I rapped
another
with it.
famous guy.
Okay, cool. And can you talk a little bit about like the rap and like what you're talking about in the rap?
Oh, I am talking about. Let's see. It goes. Yeah, it's about a previous relationship that I had, and I was basically venting about how this person left me, basically in the streets. Well, yeah, kind of jobless, and basically I don't know if I'm gonna be having a home the next day. So
Yeah.
so that was like a lot to unpack, which
Yeah.
I really liked the fact that I was able to actually use one of my verses when a poem. It goes, fills me with the hues of May, something something. That was actually an original poem that I wrote when I was 15. So it's just like, oh, I remember this thing that I wrote when I was
Yeah.
like 15 years old, and I like incorporate that and just
I
add
love
everything
that.
else. And so yeah, so I think it was yeah, I was just supposed to say like love fills me with the hues of May, but look at me, this
Yeah.
is the outcome type of thing. So
Yeah. And Khalil, what is it about like artists like Kissbell that capture your attention? You know, like artists like El Santo del Valle, Daniel Molina, like these are local artists to our community. You know, they're not as mainstream.
Yeah.
But what is it about them that you felt like the need to document?
I always look for people who are true to themselves, like who express themselves honestly, and Kissbell did that. Santo del Valle did that. Dan Molina did that, right? Molina? Did I get that right?
Yeah, Daniel Molina.
Yeah, sorry, Dan. He's listening right now. Everybody in the movie did, you know, and I just happened to kind of grow up in the industry of like film and music. And so recently, all the people in the film were more of people that I had met recently, and a lot of artists and stuff like that. So what I wanted to do is put a spotlight on these people that they might not have, and why not put it in a movie? You know, I had some big actors like Eric Estrada, I had LJ Ugarte, I had Mariana Bailin. Mariana Bailin is an actress in Colombia, and she's on a famous novela called Enfermeras.
Enfermeras.
Yeah. And so it was cool to have some actors with a rep, and then people that I could just kind of mold into an actor, you know? And they're all artists, and my film was about artists, you know, like inspiring each other to keep going for their dreams and stuff like that. So that's the kind of thing I wanted this film to be about. It's just like it's inspiring the next person when they see the film, just like, oh, you know, like see her painting, see another guy rapping, go through the process a little bit, the writing. There's a couple scenes where D. Duchess, she's actually from, I guess, Lancaster area, which is not too far.
Yeah.
I think Veronica's from Lancaster too. We got to teach Veronica how to rap too. She doesn't want to be on the mic.
Shout out to Veronica, who's also here in the studio. Did not want to be on the mic and wanted to be grounded this time. I was joking with them that we're gonna be in the airwaves, levitated.
Yeah.
And Veronica was like, no, I want to be grounded. Please.
Oh yeah. Speaking of airwaves, speaking of levitation, you know David Blaine,
David Blaine.
the magician.
Yes.
Yeah, he does. Are you okay?
You would
Sorry, I
know.
had to turn around and sneeze. I didn't want to.
No, it's okay. That's good television.
What about David Blaine?
David Blaine, I wrote a song called Fearless for him.
Okay.
And so like that's going to be on some of his upcoming shows and things like that. I met him April 29th, 2023. And I was invited VIP to the back room where he would do like card tricks for like friends and family and stuff like that. And I approached him. I said, I've always been a fan of yours since the video Fearless.
Yeah.
Fearless is like from the 90s, you know. And so he was like doing a lot of street, you know him? Veronica's like, yeah, I know this guy. And
Yeah, didn't he make an elephant disappear, or was it the Statue of Liberty? Like he's made like
Probably.
huge things disappear. You know, like of
Yeah.
course they're like illusions, but
Yeah.
there have been like huge things that he's done that he's like made disappear. Or he's
Yeah.
famous for also doing really extreme stunts.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
He
yeah.
does the like the ice and then like
The ice.
the you
And
know
the ice pick through his arm.
Yeah.
He pokes his head. Yeah, I tried to get him to like you know, get my stomach to vanish, but it didn't.
No.
It's still there. So
he'd be a
That
he'd be a
didn't
just
work.
wanna-
gajillionaire.
I just want to remind everyone that you guys are listening to KROJ 101.5 FM. We are Voces Unidas. We are Diosy,
Melissa.
And Maria.
and our guests today are,
Kissbell.
Khalil Siam.
and you guys. So sorry, I'm trying to come back, but
I like how your hand sanitizer is holding up your phone.
yes,
That's great.
we usually have
We had a little phone stand, but oh
I
wait,
don't-
here it is.
I don't know what happened to it.
Okay,
it
there we
is.
go.
See, we are prepared.
Yes, you
but
are.
Nothing beats a nice hand sanitizer.
No, it's multi-purpose.
Yeah, the remnants of COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has hand
man.
sanitizer now. At least we are being cleaner now.
Yes.
As a society. But we were talking about a little bit off air about authenticity, you know, through your work, and you know that was, you know,
Yeah.
through the conversation we've been having, you know,
Yeah.
that's the lens that you kind of look at the artists that you connect with.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit more with Kissbell about, you know, like your image, right? And we were talking a little bit off air about, you know, the importance of embracing, you know, your indigeneity, and you know, like this brought this opportunity to you, right? As I assume it's brought many other opportunities. It's what you do for work. Can you speak a little bit about, like, maybe if you've had any like lashback, or has there been any type of like criticism on, like, because it's something that's celebrated, at least for myself, but like myself, that I'm like stepping into it, and to my own indigeneity, sometimes, you know, I feel like I'm culturally appropriating like my own indigeneity, because like I don't know if I'm representing it correctly. Like just previously, before you guys came in, we had a guest who is collaborating with her friend, and they're creating a brand, and they are doing braids, you know, like the braids, how they do the indigenous braids. And so I was like, can you guys do my hair? Because like I have really thin, like frail hair. But, like, I know, like, in my mom's culture, right, like, the purepuecha, like, I was telling you, my mom's purepuecha, like, they do that. They do the braids. But I've never done it because, like, I don't want to, like, misrepresent my culture or anything like that. So I guess my question is, like, have you faced any backlash, like, in your work? And, like, have you felt any of that, like, hesitation?
Yes, I have. One time, a family member said to me, because I love to wear chapina clothing.
Yeah.
Or this is one of them. And she told me, oh, you, it's like, you, all in Spanish. Oh, you put that on and everything, but you're not even from there. You weren't even born there. She was born there. So I said, you know what? You're so right. You were born there. I go, why aren't you wearing it? Are you ashamed or what? I said, are you ashamed? That's a very good question. What are you doing? I go, do you go and help? What do you do? It's like, and couldn't say anything. She just stood quiet. I'm just like, exactly. So things like that, of course, because she knows I was born here. It's not my fault that my parents decided to come here for a better life. I didn't choose that. I didn't go and say, hey, let's go live in Los Angeles. And it's like, no, I didn't. I use this because this is a way to connect to my roots and stuff. There was another occasion where it's different. One Native man told me, we could say a predominantly important one, told me that what did he tell me? Oh, I asked like, oh, what type of advice or what type of help, like, to put my art more out there or like get artist jobs. And he said, well, you can do this and that. Oh my God, thank you. And then he said, you know, it's better than sleep. What did he say? Oh, I have it quoted in my phone. To sleep with photographers for free pictures. It's better than sleeping with photographers for free pictures. He told me. Now I was just like, I don't sleep with photographers. He's told him, and he's like, oh. And then I just left. And so it's either I am not because I'm not born there, or it's because even native man will tell me, oh, you are showing too much. Or I'm either showing too much, or I'm showing not enough. I'm either sexualized for being native or identifying as native. So it just depends, honestly. Dating is difficult because I am seen as a conquest. And what else? There's so many instances. Like, a person told me one time while I was in a photo shoot that is it okay to say things, or is there like a monetization?
We cannot say, like, we keep it PG, and we cannot say any bad words.
Okay, got it. So basically this person said, because I had my like a whole like outfit going on, like with like my Maya makeup, that he told me, yeah, like, you look fierce, eat my heart or something like that. I was like, stuff like that. And then it just progressively got worse until like the end. He said something about oh, since your people like you know, drinking alcohol, but from the behind, I bet you do too. And I'm just like, wait a minute, back up. And after
so it's
that,
like a lot of like experiences where I would say this is like racism, like this is like harassment, this is wrong. Like, I'm so sorry that you have experienced that.
It's it's part of life, I guess. I of course I took them, and I'm like, excuse me, what are you saying?
Right.
That is not okay. When I do have a chance, some people are receptive to it. Some people say that they didn't say that and that they don't remember. And I'm like, okay, I'm not asking for an apology. I'm just telling you that this hurt my feelings. I'm not asking you to say sorry. I'm just saying, hey, I really don't like that. Can you please stop? And that's pretty much it. And if you can't, well, bye. So that's the reality. I had a talk about this over there in Mount Sac. I was a keynote speaker, I believe last week, as their Women's Wisdom Wednesday. And
wow, that's so amazing.
Yeah, I work with them. There's like a fashion show that I'm organizing on this month on the 26th.
So cool.
It's a native fashion show. So yeah, I had a talk about this, and I even said, like, through my art, like painting, putting my makeup, I'm expressing who I am. I'm expressing my own intersectionality. Growing up in East LA, growing up at the fact that I'm not Chicana or I'm not Mexican.
Right.
You know, I'm not like, and salpicón tastes good. I don't those are plates that I enjoy from Central America, and I just like but I love what I do. That's the thing. Like, I can't really stop doing it. I just need to just put my head up high and say that I'm here, and and that I'm not going I'm here because I feel that maybe I can hold my own, and I know when to walk away and be like, I'm not going to put up with this. I'm okay. And maybe out there's a little chamaca, or how we say it, a little patoja somewhere that wants to who wants to be in this part of this industry, but know that this industry is difficult, and a lot of people will be like, I really don't like that experience. Like, I don't ever want to do it again. There was times as well that when I came to promote a place or something like that, I got sexually harassed. And, yeah, I got harassed and stuff. And it was because I looked a certain way. And I was just like, yeah, but I know not a lot of women would be able to stick out and be like, hey, don't, and go off and do their own. So I'm trying.
And with all like this struggle too, like it's so beautiful that you're like, I'm doing this for like that little girl that like maybe you didn't have that person to like see yourself in when you were little, or like whatever it is, right? And because I wanted to ask you, as you were telling us these stories about just the struggle and about how you stay grounded, how you stay like within your own wisdom, within your own soul, and what brings you like that continued strength to like keep your head up, to keep your chin up, and like despite all the challenges. Like for me, it's my mom. She's like, nah, dude, like you're this and that, and like nobody can tell you anyway, and if anybody gives you problems, like tell them to call me, you know. And so it's like I was just wondering like how do you find that like inner strength within yourself to keep yourself grounded in all of this?
I think it would be sometimes I feel I have doubts as well, and I talk to an auntie, in the community, the one that women that have more experience, we call them aunties. They're not necessarily up there to elder yet, but they're getting there, you know, and it's a huge honor. And sometimes I'll talk to auntie and be like, hey, I'm feeling doubt about X, Y, and Z, and I'm not really sure. And it's like, I get it. I feel the same way. I was your age, like da-da-da-da-da, and I just feel very good. Another thing would be maybe my the spirituality that I have, that is rooted in kind of like stories from my mother's childhood, or my mother's grandmother. So I hear those. I also grew up in the religion called Santeria, so that kind of fills me with a lot of spirituality, being connected with my ancestors and my just with nature. Just go up. Nature's my church, so I going up in the mountains and singing and stuff like that. That's the only thing I can connect, you know.
That's so beautiful.
And it's honestly like just so relatable and so grounding, like from my perspective. And like I think like, you know, I share this like with Maria, like we like to hike, you know, and also Mel, like we all like to hike here. But you know, I think hiking is something that like I've always felt like a natural calling to. And it's like I never understood it, but now that I've learned about myself, as we were talking, like it's that like my parents, my mom comes from this like jungle, and she was surrounded by nature, and like it's not natural for me to like, it's natural for my body to crave that and to want to be amongst the trees, to want to be close to water, to want to smell dirt, you know. And like it's those things make me feel so alive. And when I don't have that, like I can see like my health and my mental health especially deteriorate, you know. And just I just want to like, before we move on from this conversation and move into a different conversation, I just want to say thank you for sharing those stories. They're like very vulnerable, and you know, for expressing, you know, a part of, you know, your struggle. And so yeah, with that, I guess the reason why I was asking all of that is, you know, I wanted to ask, as a creative, what would you have to say to somebody that is looking to, whether they're, you know, the same culture as you or not, to step into representing their culture? which is something that is like very like, I guess, a fad right now. You know, it's like people are wanting to be in touch with themselves and with their culture, but like a lot of people are scared to. And you do it so fiercely and so boldly, and through your work. But like for someone like myself who isn't so familiar with my culture, like what would you say to me, like to encourage me to step into that version of myself?
Good question.
Good question.
Yeah.
Let's see.
She has the hard hitting ones.
Yeah,
She's
I
got
feel
the
well.
hard-hitting
Like the
ones.
reason why I ask is just like there's a theme like amongst our guests. I guess like within like just this last season, you know, we've been talking about community and culture, and like connecting those two things, and you know, like that's what you're doing, and it's such a different, you know, it's such a different way that you're doing it from the rest of us, you know. But it's very authentic to you, and so like a lot of people that are looking for that authenticity to portray, you know, through their art, like I think you would be able to give some really good advice on that, because you're so authentic with yourself, with your work, you know. And so I guess that's where my questions were coming from. But if you want to like think about it really quick, we could come back right now. We're gonna take a quick little break, but we'll be right back, y'all, in about 7-ish minutes. Enjoy this music from Alex Infinity on Spotify called Las Comadres, locals only. And you guys are tuned into KROJ 101.5 FM. We'll be right back, y'all. Hello, everyone. You guys are listening to KROJ 101.5 FM. We are Voces Unidas, and we're coming to you guys live from our studio here at Pueblo y Salud in the city of San Fernando. We're broadcasting from Panorama City. I am Diosy.
Maria.
And Melisa.
And we are here with our guests, Kissbell and Khalil. And I gave a pretty wordy, lengthy question right before we went off air. We had a little bit of a conversation about it. I don't really know what I'm asking. All I know is I'm kind of asking a little bit of like advice for myself, I guess. You know, like I've been in this journey for myself of like exploring my own indigeneity for the last, like, I would say like 5 years, but like really the last like year and a half, like I found a spiritual mentor, and like I've been learning, like really learning, but I still haven't found like the way to like identify with it in my like day-to-day life. It's something that's very private in my life, like figuring out this indigenous part of me, right? And I want it to be something more like open, and like I really love when I meet people like you that are so like in touch with themselves and their indigeneity. And so like that, I guess I'm just asking for that advice for myself of like, how would you, like, what advice would you give me, I guess?
Okay. To go to auntie mode.
Okay, auntie.
Okay. It's so difficult because it's like, oh, people are listening and watching, and so I'm like, okay.
Hey, you're gonna help out people, I'm sure, who are listening in.
Okay. So, thank you. Do you see this?
Yes.
Do you like it?
Yes.
¿Te trae?
Sí.
Then eso es que tu sangre te llama, and that's your blood is calling it to you. Okay? You have the fortune, you're fortunate enough to have a mom who came from a tribe who, like you said, was from La Selva. And like my mom, she grew up in a farm where she could talk to the trees, she could talk to the animals, and her grandmother encouraged that, and they would listen. So if this te trae tanto, why are you so negative about it? Like, why are you going, no? ¿Por qué? It's like no one is telling you to not like it. You're grown. No one's gonna tell you, ¿eso qué es? Si te lo quitan? No. You can buy it. You can wear it. No one can take away the fact that your mom was born there. That's a fact. I'm pretty sure in her birth certificate it says that she was born around there. So why are you negating that from you? Why are you taking that away from yourself? I know that there's like this internal struggle that you're having, and I have it too. You're not the only one. But that's the thing that you must learn. Maybe it is something that you have to learn to be courageous, to learn to be fearless, and not be running from it, but embracing it. No one, whoever says that they're courageous or fearless, it's not because they run away from what they fear. It's because they go and they face it, and they accept it, and they go through it. And then once they go through it, they go through the fire, and then you get out of it, and it's like, what was I so afraid about? About a little huipil that you're putting on. It means so much to you.
Yeah.
It means so much to me. This is like such a beautiful thing that my mother gave me. And I love it so much, and I wear it every day. I'm very proud of who I am. Be proud of where you come from, of where your family comes from. And that's pretty much what I want to say.
Thank you so much. Wow.
Why do I feel like crying right now?
I feel like crying. Like
What's going on right now?
the auntie is auntieing.
Yeah. She really did some auntie.
Yes, the auntie work is but truly, gracias del corazón, for real. Khalil, thank you so much for bringing in Kissbell.
You're welcome.
This was definitely an unexpected surprise. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so fulfilled.
Sure.
You know, we're gonna connect with Kissbell, hopefully on a later time.
Yes.
And get more into these conversations and get to know more of Kissbell's work. But let's get back to the film.
Okay.
And you know, like, it's very clear to me that like you are trying to highlight, you know, the authenticity in our community, and you know, whether it's like at like somebody who's made it in the industry or somebody who's coming into the industry.
Yep.
Like, your point is like we all have these common like struggles, these common like experiences as creatives and artists, right?
Right.
Is what I'm gathering from your film.
Yeah.
And so like being ourselves is so important.
Yeah.
And whether we're being ourselves in like not just in your personal life, you have to be yourself in your work life and your creative life, and you know, that's how you live a happy life. Yeah. Right? And like at least that's what I'm gathering as a 32-year-old now. Oh. You know, and so let's bring the question to you now. Like, what advice do you have for us creatives? For us, you know, like, you've been on Power 106. You know, we're a local nonprofit radio. We stumbled upon this opportunity as the organizers that we are in the community, and we are like coming into this creativity as we learn, right?
Yep.
Like, what advice do you have for us?
Well, first of all, now this is my favorite radio show. So forget about all the big guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think you could go back to what Kissbell was touching on as far as like, I think it's really our vulnerability. You know, it's what we suppress that doesn't allow us to express ourselves honestly. And that's what the film is all about, is expressing ourselves honestly. You know, Veronica, would you agree? Okay. All right. She shook her head. Yes.
Well,
I feel like this conversation is also really connecting to the conversation that we had at the beginning of the show. I don't know if you guys were able to hear, but Vanessa was mentioning like with their art and their work about the dualities of like this light and dark, and the sadness and the happiness, and like all of these things that converge into like what life is. And it's just really beautiful because it all ends up being just like the authenticity of like human beings and what it is that we want and what it is that we need, and what that is like love and life and
Each other.
yeah, and each other and community. And that's kind of like the work that we're doing here, is making sure that we're prioritizing like the people in our community that are doing the good work, and you guys are doing amazing work and really preaching and doing the things that you say that you wanted to. And so just really grateful for today. Oh my gosh, it's just, I always say this, but I just have the best time.
Yeah.
And it's always just the best convos. So I'm just so happy to be here with you guys and holding space together. And so
yeah. And we don't get to see Melisa much also as a team.
I know.
Melissa's very busy and lives on the other side of town. So
I'm a working girl.
Yeah. So it's always lovely when
even though I work here in this city basically every day.
Yeah. But you're working, girl.
I know.
Comadre, any final thoughts, any like feedback, and what are you feeling?
I just wanted to express gratitude to the both of you, Khalil, for your film, for giving a platform to creatives, and not just looking at, like yourself, what you like, but it's also showcasing other people's talents and really coming from a culturally appropriate background, like you just really want to represent correctly.
Thanks.
And Kissbell, really thank you for that lovely God, what do we call it? Pep talk, I want to say, because as someone who is like myself or Diosy, like I'm so far removed from my indigeneity. The only thing that we know about my family is very, very little. And so I also have those struggles of like, where do I really come from? Who am I? And I'm not living in my home country. I'm originally from Lima, Peru. So I'm from way down south of the border. And I came here as a really young girl. So I've really lost connection to my heritage, whether it's like the indigenous heritage or otherwise. So, your experience and your pep talk has been really helpful for someone like me that I'm trying to get in touch with it. I would love to embrace that part, but I don't know anything about my culture. So it does encourage me, and it makes it feel a little bit easier for me to say, I know where I come from, and I can embrace it because I'm not the only one that's sort of going through this experience of not really being able to embrace your culture because there's so many outside factors against you. So it's really refreshing and really hopeful to hear a message like yours to girls like us who are trying to find that root and connection, because we know it's there. Like you said, like la sangre te llama. It's there. It's calling us, but we've been so conditioned in the wrong way, and we've been ignoring that call from within our hearts. So thank you for your lovely message, for taking the time to be here with us and sharing all of that, the lovely wisdom that you have.
Yes, thank you.
Can
for
I do a
having
poem?
me. Oh,
Yes.
I also wanted to thank all of you guys for giving me space and chance to talk, holding space for me. I would also like to thank Khalil, because without, the film and what I do in it, I wouldn't be able to be invited here and to speak with you guys today. So I would like to thank Khalil for that.
Oh, come on. I got to thank her. She's the superstar.
And so, anyways,
thank you, Khalil.
Yeah.
You can wrap up for us.
All right.
Please
I'll wrap it
do.
up with a little poem. This is like spoken word. It's about peace and love, pretty much. So it goes, if I may, I'd like to recommend, don't apprehend. People treat them equal, don't make a foe, make a friend. Communicate and relate, and you might fascinate yourself when you realize that loving is great. But this color race thing, I don't understand. A man is a man, why mess with God's plan? He created every color, he created every race. But some can't stand the taste to go face to face with reality. To me, that's a shame. We might not have the same name, but we're all the same. 'Cause underneath our skin, we're all women and men. And to love one another should not be a sin. Why do we fight with one another instead of love each other and treat each other like a sister or a brother? Instead of antagonizing, we should be socializing and rising with our hearts, realizing that nothing is wrong with love. We can learn to live peacefully positive instead of hatefully negative. Incidentally, this we're physically and mentally capable to be considered lovable and not considered hateable. But why, is my question, is there hate and depression? Let's end this session and teach a new lesson, like loving each other like sisters and brothers. There's a lot to be discovered in each one of us, and in God we should all trust. And in order to change our ways, do this we must. I've come to lend some help to those who want to be helped. In order to do this, you gotta want it for yourself. So throw your guns down, throw a peace sign up high, and stop wondering about how young you're gonna die. There's no need to cry, and can't nobody deny when your mind's full of intelligence, your power is amplified.
Wow.
I fumbled one word.
Couldn't even
Do
tell.
you guys
So
hear the
gorgeous.
snapping? Do you hear that?
Thanks.
Airwaves.
you.
You guys, that was Voces Unidas on KROJ 101.5 FM. We are Radio Olin. This show was produced by Voces Unidas in Pacoima and Valley Views SFB Media. I'm Diosy.
I'm Melissa.
And Maria.
Our guests were.
Kissbell.
Khalil Sion.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're looking forward to being with you guys this Sunday for our Sunday show, our once a month Sunday show with Zacarias. Hopefully Alex Infinity will be here as well. And we'll do our quick little catch up with our team, and then we'll have our platica with Zacarias. Next Monday show is going to be Las Comadres. And I think you guys are going to be hearing a little bit from Des and Vanessa. So tune in. We are Voces Unidas. This is us signing off.
Bye.